Hello, fellow lovers of the liminal and the weird, and welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. This has been probably the longest break I've taken from the channel, but it was my birthday last week, so I figured I would give myself a break, so I took a week off. Also, that gave everybody time to watch Deb and I talk about the book To Your Scattered Bodies Go by Philip Jose Farmer. I'm lucky to have a BCE edition of this story that is signed by Philip Jose Farmer. I hope you can see that. If not, I'll take a picture of it and put it up. Looks like he just used a blue ballpoint ink pen, but very cool. Now that I look at this, I feel like I've been spelling Philip wrong. I've been putting two L's in Philip, so I'm going to have to go back and redo all those. But anyway, if you haven't yet, go check out Deb and I. Deb is from Omnivorous Reader, talking about this wild Philip Jose Farmer novel. It was so fun chatting with Deb. I hope to do more work with her in the future. I'm hoping next maybe we can do a horror book, and I have an Australian horror book in mind. Unfortunately, it's probably the most obvious Australian horror book that any American could think of. But yeah, we'll see if she's interested in talking about that one a little bit. So I did get a few books for my birthday at the Albuquerque Antiquarian Book Fair. I only got 3, but they were incredible books, including the oldest book I've ever owned. If you'd like to see that video, go back a couple of videos and you can see these books that I got for my birthday. All right, so what you can expect coming up from the channel. I grabbed this book off my shelf when I was just looking for something to read the other day. I'm trying to really dive into weird fiction, and I've hit a lot of the big authors. I read 3 stories out of this. I read The Albatross by William Hope Hodgson, which was an incredible adventure story, but not a horror story. So while I enjoyed it, it wasn't my exact cup of tea. It's just kind of a sailor saves a damsel in distress story. Not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but just not usually what I look for this channel. I then read A Prophecy of Monsters by Clark Ashton Smith, which was very short. You know, I think I might just make a video where I read this whole story and then talk about it, because it is very short and it's a really interesting mix of horror and science fiction, but not, it seems to me like more of a sketch of an idea than a really full-fledged story that I would recommend. It's just a quick idea. And then I read a story called Over an Absinthe Bottle by W.C. Morrow. Never heard of Morrow. Honestly, I read it because it said Over an Absinthe Bottle, and I've enjoyed absinthe in the past, so I was like, oh, let's check it out. And I did, and I read it, and it was really wild, really weird. So you can expect a video about that story and about W.C. Morrow as I research him a little bit more. And I got this from Hauntings and Horrors, 10 Grisly Tales, edited by Alden H. Norton. And I believe that Alder H. Morton talked about each of these stories beforehand, kind of like Ellison does in Dangerous Visions, and it was really interesting what he had to say about each of these writers. So that's probably the next video that will be up on the channel, is about that story. I am halfway through Jitterbug Perfume and running through it quickly. If you are holding off on this book because you've never really heard of it, or you don't really know the writer but heard it's kind of quirky, I guarantee you if you read the first 20 to 30 pages of this book, you will not be able to put it down, and it will be one of your favorite books. It's good. It is so good. I can't recommend enough that you go check this book out. It's so much fun. Please, if you can find a copy, give this a read. I think you'll really, really like it. I don't know if it has an Audible version. It might do, but I'm reading it directly, so I don't know if the narrator is any good. So you can expect that next week. Right when I finish that, I am jumping into Babel 17 by Samuel R. Delany. This is the only copy I have of this. I can't find, I have a lot of old Delany books, but not Babel 17. So this is a new double a new vintage double. On the other side, it has Empire Star. And Empire Star is super short. It's like 92 pages. It's under 100 pages. The rest of that of this double is Babel 17. I am reading this with Ira from SF Words of Wonder. So our main discussion on this will be over on his channel. But if you'd like to read along, jump in. I haven't started it yet, so I can't really say anything about it at all. I know that Delaney is considered a wonderful science fiction writer, but also a little bit of a weird guy. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. A lot of people say it's right up the channel's alley, so that may be the case. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to do a read-along once a month with another channel. I think that's really fun. I don't know if it's as fun for you guys to hear us chat with other people instead of just giving our own opinions, but for the creators, I think it's a lot of fun. It's fun when you have somebody to bounce your ideas off of. So yeah, I did Deb from Omnivorous Reader this month. Next month, I'm going to be working with Ira from SF Words of Wonder, and the month after that, which is May, I will be reading Indoctrinaire by Christopher Priest with Richard Rempel from Vintage SF. Richard and I are really good friends, so I'm looking forward to chatting with him again, especially about a writer that I have never read but have heard so much about. And I loved the movie, The Prestige, so I think I'm going to like this guy quite a bit. So if you'd like to read that, join us. You can do that in May. While I'm reading these books directly, I also like to listen to Audible books when I'm driving around in my car. And the Audible books I am listening to now is Michael McDowell's serial novel, Blackwater. Here's the first edition copies of Blackwater 1 and Blackwater 2. These are the only physical copies I have. I am much further along than this, but they're very difficult to afford, these books. So I'm going to keep trying to get these copies of these, but they're very hard to come by. So I'm listening to these on Audible, and it is probably, no, really without a doubt, the most fun I've had on Audible. And I've had a lot of fun on Audible, but these are so well narrated. I'm just absolutely loving it, and this wasn't really planned. It just started happening over on the Discord. But Brian from Bad Taste Books and Virgil from Literally Books are both listening to the Audible right now as well. So I'm not really going to give a date because we're just all taking our time, having fun, listening to them in the time frame that we like. But once we're all done, we're going to be talking about these. However, if you are interested, over on the Patreon, I am putting out a video every week of each of these novels as they are released serially. That's a hard word to say, serially. It doesn't sound like a word anymore. So yeah, I've already got 1 and 2 up on the Patreon, and 3 will be this week. So if you haven't already, check out the Patreon. It's a wonderful way to help support the channel. So give that a look if you have the time. So yeah, I'll be talking about those as well. Look at that crazy setup. There you go. If you'd like to keep up, that's what I'll be doing for the next week. Lot of great stuff over here. So also, my good buddy Andy, who I've been collecting science fiction with here in Albuquerque for years, has an electronic band, and he has recently started selling merch over at TeePublic. And the reason I bring it up is because he's done a couple of Galaxy covers, Galaxy magazine covers of his favorite Galaxy magazine issues. One of them, of course, being Isaac Asimov's The Caves of Steel. And I just met him today, and he was wearing that cool shirt, and he sent me this link, so I thought I would let you guys know as well. I think any science fiction fans would love this. So I'm going to put the link for his TeePublic down in the description. Go ahead and check it out, especially if you like old science fiction art and old magazine covers, and especially Isaac Asimov. All right, I think that is everything for now. Sorry for the long break, but there will be more stuff this week.